Hey guys, today I'm here talking with Keegan Dunn, who graduated just a year before I did at Tech. And today he's going to talk a little bit about his story and his experience with engineering. And hope you guys like what he has to say. So, Keegan, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and your experience in high school and what you're doing now?
Yeah. My name's Keegan Dunn. So I graduated from Tech in 2008. But yeah, I grew up in Indianapolis. Went to IPS school pretty much my whole life. I graduated from Tech. I loved it. And from there, I went to Purdue University to major in engineering, which I was pretty sure I wanted to do going into college. Wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do within engineering because there's so many disciplines. But started Purdue fall 2008, and then graduated in 2012. And shortly after that, I got a job up in Fishers, Indiana, working for a sanitary sewer company as a project engineer, and just learned a lot about collection systems and lift stations, and kind of got to use a lot of the things I learned in college there and learn just about water resources, which is basically what I'm doing now. I just started a new job last year with HWC Engineering. We're here downtown. I get to work on a lot of water distribution systems, sewer collection, some storm sewer, and things like that. So it's sort of like civil engineering, but that's kind of where I'm at now.
So, on a daily basis, what sorts of things do you do in your job? And obviously, during COVID times, your answer is going to be a little different. So, just generically, even if we weren't in COVID times, what would your day to day look like?
Like I said, I work on water distribution systems and storm sewers, sanitary sewers, and usually our clients are basically mainly cities and towns within Indiana. So there's some dialogue and corresponding with just people in those communities who we work for, but and then also contractors, other engineers, CAD technicians, and things like that. Basically, what I do is I prepare plans for these different systems. We have to correspond a lot with our client and just the CAD technician and getting those together. But there's also paperwork that goes along with that. There's permit applications and things like that. It's kind of boring stuff. But then there's you have to make specifications for the construction and things like that. So there's a lot of knowledge that goes into it that you kind of have on the front end, and sort of that base level knowledge. And I'd say maybe 10% of my time is using kind of mathematics and doing calculations and sort of that. That's sort of what my day is comprised of. Kind of a 10,000 foot level view there, but yeah, that's essentially what I do.
So you have kind of a unique job, and students may not be familiar with this sort of occupation as much. So what would you say is like your favorite thing that you get to do at work?
I'd say just seeing something go to completion. So it's not like necessarily one thing, but just to, there's a lot that goes into making a set of plans. There's a lot of people involved. And so to see something go from basically, nothing, and then to have something, a finished product to hand over to the client, and to say, hey, this is what we're going to do. And then to see that through to construction, it kind of gives you something to look at and say, wow, I was able to accomplish that. And so that's a good feeling and one of my favorite parts of my job.
If you could give advice to a high schooler, what sort of opportunities should they be taking advantage of during high school, whether that's on campus opportunities that you took advantage of or internships, those sorts of things? What would you suggest?
Yeah, internships are huge, especially, if you can get an internship in high school, that would be huge. Because any opportunity you can find that's going to allow you to at least research and know maybe what sort of discipline you want to go into, that's going to save you a lot of time before you get into college. trying to figure that out, where you're going to be spending a lot of money getting your education. So, yeah, I would say, I mean, if you're in an engineering course, that's huge. That's awesome. Any extracurricular activities that you could do, that, you know, maybe some engineering extracurricular activities you could do, that maybe in a discipline that maybe interests you. Um, Taking AP courses is huge. If you can get any credit before going to college, take those opportunities as well.
What sort of advice would you give to a high schooler who's pursuing a job, whether that's in a career in engineering or in engineering tech? Like, what would you say to them as they are beginning this journey?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I kind of touched on it, but I just say, you know, there's so many different engineering disciplines. When I was in high school, you know, my dad was a mechanical engineer, so that's sort of what I had in my head, as what an engineer was. But, you know, the the spectrum is very large and very broad. Um, so some advice I would give is just maybe research some of the major disciplines of engineering. See what interests you now, before you get into college. Because I think that's going to start to help you formulate maybe some of your interests, um, uh, which is going to help you out in the long run, I think. Because the less time you try to figure that out in college, the better. Believe me, that's kind of where I was. The next advice I would give is just be prepared to be challenged. If you do go into college to get an engineering degree, you will be challenged. You know, I was very surprised once I got to college how much more difficult it was than high school. And so, you know, I had to kind of kind of readjust and know that I had to be more disciplined in college than I was in high school. So that's just my experience, but I think there are a lot of other people that had similar experiences, especially in the engineering field. And the other thing I'd say is just be willing to maybe be creative about getting your degree. You know, there are a lot of ways you can get your engineering degree. I know, you know, the first few years, usually you're taking some general math courses, science courses, take some physics courses. Maybe you can knock those out on like an online course or something and save yourself some money. Because I mean, that's one of the major things. I think if I could go back and redo, I would look at that maybe, just in terms of, you know, student loans are no fun to pay back. Trust me, I'm doing it right now. So yeah, any way you can maybe save a buck and still get the degree that you want, research that as well. I would do it. I would if I had to do it all over again. That's something I would do.
All right. Anything else you want to say to high schoolers?
Good luck. Godspeed. You know, it's a rewarding field to be in. I don't regret becoming an engineer. So if that's something that interests you, go for it. And so good luck.
Well, thanks again for taking the time to talk to me today. And if you're one of my students and you're watching this video and you'd like to ask Keegan a question, or if you'd like to ask a question to a future engineer or somebody who's applying their engineering skills that I interview, let me know and I'd be happy to have that conversation. I'll see you guys next time.